Hey everyone, Tyler here from the RSL Random Fan Podcast. Just want to give you a quick taste of some serious fandom. We love what we do. We love the RSL Random Fan Podcast, and we hope you enjoy listening to us. This week, we have something really cool to give away, so wait till the end of the episode, and we talk about ways to get something really cool from us, given away from the RSL Random Fans, as we love you guys. So thanks for listening to our podcast, Brandt, Brennan, and Tyler. We love doing this, and we hope you appreciate what we do. Thanks. See ya.
Let's start with the starting lineup for Real Salt Lake versus DC United. After we introduce ourselves, I'm Frank Goebel. I'm a host. And I'm joined by Brennan, a host, and Tyler Thomas, another host.
Like
Three A
you go
hosts.
by the leftover host.
We're just like 3A hosts doing a podcast. So starting lineup, Cabral on the back, Noel Caliscan at the right back. 8 games in a row for Noel. That's his spot. He's going to have to play there the rest of his life. Justin Glad, Brian Vera, Alex Catranis. In the middle, Nelson Palacio, Pablo Ruiz, and then getting his first start for Real Salt Lake, Johnny Russell, Gozo in the middle, Diogo Gonzalez, I don't know if you know this, but he's a DP. And up top, Willie, I got to score some more goals. Any thought from the starting lineup? We can, on the bench for Real Salt Lake was Jay Stroud. Who's that? Oh, that's the DC bench. That's right. Long day. So, Junkwa, Harry Doggo, Wolf, Quinton, Connie Brooke, Henry. Henry made an appearance, getting back from that injury, and Piol up on the bench. So initial thoughts on the game. It had been a couple weeks. They had a couple weeks off. I think they said that Pablo gave him a couple days off to not dwell on whatever that was against the Galaxy and come back and ready to go. And looks like maybe that worked a little bit. It also helps that DC United is in a similar we suck funk. So
Wow, do we
what are your
have to
thoughts?
go back
First
and
half.
change that? Do we have to go back and edit that one, Brent? Woo!
No.
Let's be careful with the word funk.
It was close.
We want the funk. You gotta get that funk. Aw. Yeah, no, I think the starting lineup and the bench kind of scared me because I mean we had a backup goalie, right? Steiduhar. We had I don't even know if he's real because he's never played for in an MLS game. Quentin Hidalgo and Junko are the only two that or three, I guess, that or Henry. Okay, so there's four. All right, four defenders. I guess everybody else is listed as an attacker. But the first thing I thought of, well, especially when I didn't like the way Ruiz started the game, I was like, all right, let's see who on the bench could come in, and nope, there's nobody subbing for Ruiz or Palacio there. Nope, we're not.
So yeah,
Just looking at my poster
10 minutes.
over here and just thinking, we really miss Nick Beasler. That's who we miss because he could step
No,
in and play just
you
about
look
anywhere.
back there because you forgot his name. You had to look back because you even forgot his name.
Beasler's name,
Oh,
bro.
dude. You're
He's
like,
begging me, dude. Come on.
what's his name, dude? Oh, yeah, Beavers, yeah. The guy I got a tattoo on my butt for? Yeah, Gavin Beavers.
No. Anyway, his brother was an all-star. He was a really good player for us for a time. Anyway, no, I was a little worried about that. About 5 minutes in, after two errant passes from Ruiz, I was like, "Oh, this might be a really long night for us." And if
Well, to be fair, didn't Catranis have a nice turnover there right to start the game?
yeah,
So it was
Yeah,
it was a team effort.
He recovered. No, we're not going to have this pessimism. He recovered. Catranis was a solid play. It's a rough start, but you really got to pay attention to the double pivots here. Because like Tyler was saying, Pablo Ruiz, man, he was not connected. His distribution was pretty wide, as in not on target, but wide. And Palacio was kind of a shining light almost in this game. He still kind of had some fumbles, but I think this game was really dependent on the double pivot overall.
For the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes, it was really rough for both sides. It was, it looked like they'd had a couple weeks off, as the announcers mentioned. But then after that, RSL really kind of turned on, uh, pulled it together, so to speak. A little bit more. I mean, neither team was covering themselves with a ton of glory, but Real Salt Lake started to play a lot better. Their home, and DC United looked like the altitude was just, they just said, well, we're just going to let the altitude bother us right away. And the first half was pretty much, well, the whole stats, we can talk about it, but looking at the 5 minute increments, RSL had the ball, had possession, and they seemed like the one that wanted to play. What play through their struggles, and they played better. Although, to Brennan's point, Pablo and Nelson Palacio were a little bit like a wet paper towel. I mean, people just go right through them. I noticed that DC United, they just turn and go right through the middle. I was like, where are those guys?
Yeah, I thought Palacio was a little more stout than Ruiz was. And it felt like he had to clean up a little bit after Ruiz. It's like your kid in the kitchen making a mess. You know you're gonna have to clean it up, right, Brendan?
Yeah, yeah, sadly.
Yeah, and it just felt like that a little bit. And I think it was 15, almost 20 minutes in, I turned to Brennan and I said, "This game's getting ugly." Or you said it to me, I can't remember. I was like, "This is not a good game for either team. We don't look good on the ball. They don't look good chasing the ball. Like, it's not looking good all around. There's a lot of like the ball's coming through, clear it, just kick it as hard as you can, like I think we sent 4 balls and they sent 5 up into the stands. I'm like, this is an ugly game so far.
Well, there are some positives because I mean, I remember that conversation. I was being pretty negative at that point. Uh, but honestly, DC United had some really good chances early on, and if they just had a little bit higher quality finish, we would be not okay within 15, 20 minutes, which is really tough to say because they were pretty weak, but they still got through and they were in the box for a couple minutes of those 20. And it was brutal because they just lost 7-0 to Chicago. Like, they should not be opening us up. Like, that is just, oh man, it's a dark time at the moment. I don't like saying that, but I was feeling that during this game.
Well, it's a team trying to find themselves. They got absolutely smashed last week. They're really close to the bottom of the East. They're really struggling to find themselves, and to kind of start the way they did was kind of impressive. I mean, and it was kind of our own fault, giving away balls in the middle and then giving up chances and things like not great, not great, but pulling it together and gritting, gutting, and it was just interesting the way we defended at times and trusted each other and kind of didn't. Like on that second chance where Leal kind of picked the ball up in midfield and was running forward. By the way, Leal was like worse than RDP, so I'm glad we have Gonzalez rather than Leal. That guy's not good. Anyway, he's running at the defenders, which you want to do. And Vera kind of steps. I don't know what Vera was thinking. He kind of just stepped when he probably didn't need to, and that's what opened it up for the guy behind who can't shoot straight. So it's kind of good that he couldn't shoot straight, like Brennan was saying, because otherwise that might have been 1-0.
And talking about, you bring up Vera, I was watching the game again, and especially in the first half, it was like they practiced having Vera bring the ball up down the left. Like, get Katranis forward, and then Vera ended up clear down in the final third a lot of the time, several times, being a playmaker. I'm like, where are you going?
Yeah, but I kind of, me personally, I like to see that kind of stuff, though. I love it when a defender comes up the field and is super aggressive. I mean, like, that's almost like rec soccer. You know what I mean? Like, you had positions, but it wasn't real.
No,
Everybody
it's
just went,
total football, man. It's total
total
football.
football, baby.
That's like how the crew play, kind of. I mean, their center backs go up sometimes. People just rotate back and cover for each other, and they do it. Why not have Vera? He's got a good left foot, right? Get him up there close, get him shooting. I love that, actually.
Cabral just needs to roll it in front of him, and then dribble right up through everybody and score a goal.
There
Like,
used to be
just as
keepers
we're
like
talking
that
about,
back in the old
yeah.
days, right?
What was his name?
Iguita, is that his name?
Yeah,
Is that the one where they came up
yeah,
with the
for
rule for it?
Colombia. Yeah.
Iguita, the guy that did the scorpion kick, he would take off.
Yep. Yep. And then they changed the rules. Yep. Yeah, he was a cool guy. You can go look that up. Scorpion kick or a Gita. Pretty cool. But Cabral's not that guy, which is fine.
Oh, he's the guy. I mean,
He,
he's
goalie one.
yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah, he does great work and keeps us organized in the back there.
Tell us how much you love him,
Yeah.
Dad. Tell him.
Oh,
Tell us. Tell us.
I will tell you how much I love Cabral. I went to
Oh my
practice
gosh.
on Friday to watch practice, and he made I think it was in honor of Raimondo. He made a save down, like he's standing up, point blank, and he dives to his left and pops it over the goal. And like, I can't remember who shot it, but they were literally like 6 feet away from him, and he's boom down. It's like, holy cow. The guy he's really, really good. But yeah, he's the difference between RSL having 2 wins or 5 for the most part.
Well, I mean, we have 4.
Which
Right? 5 now with this
we
one.
have 5. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We'd have 2, maybe 3 without him. And maybe this gets a little way. But one of the things that looked like they worked on, and I was really impressed, we've talked about it quite a bit. I yammer on about it, but line breaking passes. It looked like they had made a conscientious effort to have some line breaking passes. Justin Glad, Diogo, everybody was getting into, I think, even Ruiz. And there were some nice, long line breaking passes to get from the back line and through up to Agata and Gozo, and after the side to Catranis.
Yeah, it
Looked
was
like they
interesting.
practiced it. I liked it.
There was a lot of times when there were 4 guys sitting on the back line. Like they had their center backs back there, and then they had their outside backs, and then they had their wing backs. So at times they were sitting 5, and even once I saw 6 guys sitting on the back line. And it basically for those of you that don't know, it's called playing a high line when the center backs push up and try to compress the area to try to help your midfield out, right? And so you just dare them to kick the ball over the top and race you to goal. But you kind of anticipate they're going to do it. So when they pull back to kick it, you kind of take off early. So you're ahead of the ball and you're ahead of the game. And it's just this little game you play all game long, right? Of, oh, we're stepping up, oh, we're pulling back. And if you're a really good defender, and you're really good at timing those things and you're really good at moving together, you can draw people offside all the time. And it's kind of fun to do when you're in high school and you're all working together and you're giving each other head nods and you're pulling up but then you have to have the ref that's looking. So in MLS you have a couple of, not only do you have the assistant referee, but you also have, VAR to go back and check, which we'll get to in a minute. But you don't have that in high school. So if you pull that offside trap and the ref doesn't throw the flag up, you're like, so many swear words just rush through your head.
Good golly, gosh darn it.
Holy, what in the world? Yeah. But DC was kind of playing that way. They were kind of playing that we're going to push up and try to condense the midfield because their midfield didn't have any at all. They couldn't hold a candle to our midfield pretty much all game long. I think that's really where we dominated was in the midfield play, swinging things wide. Johnny Russell on the right side, and then out to Catranis and even Diogo was connecting pretty well, shying away from tackles, but still connecting pretty well.
See, Diogo
Yeah.
was a. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to probably say the same thing. Talk about Diogo.
Dude, like Diogo, he needs to be so much more physical. Like he's like we joked about the Menendez line and stuff, like how close is he to Johnny Menendez? But like in this game, it started to like dawn on me that like, man, he doesn't like any sort of contact whatsoever, and he's not gonna fight that hard as soon as he gets contact. And it was like, man, that's our DP. Like he's been in this league for a little bit now. Like he should know, like to be successful, you kind of have to go above what your pay grade is. I mean, like, or go above what your position is. But it's just, it was a miss for me.
And yeah, and it's frustrating too because if you watch the goal, if we want to talk about the goal, since you brought up him not being physical, the goal comes from him fighting through some
Challenge.
defenders.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
got a challenge. There's two players, and he fights through and he turns and he splits what, one, two, three, four Kansas City players and finds Johnny RusSelL out on the right side to set up the first goal. Before that, though, talking about passes, Pablo Ruiz had a nice pass to Catranas just a few minutes before down the left side, and
Yeah, and that
Catranas kind
channel.
of,
Yeah, that
yeah,
channel run, right? He made that channel run. I don't think he does that enough. We talk about
no,
variation of service, right? You gotta try to get him at him 3 or 4 different ways. I love that run from him. That was great.
it's too bad. I think if he'd have taken the touch and put the ball to his right, I think he tried to get it to his left, keep it on his left to get a shot, and the defender was right on him. I think a little bit better touch to his right and shoot with his right foot, maybe shoot or pass.
No, I
That
love
maybe
it.
turns out
Like,
a little different.
yeah, I love the early shot on that one. He almost snuck it past that keeper. He barely got there. I love
Well,
that.
yeah, it just kind of bounced a little bit, and it was if he'd have got it solid, he doesn't get it solid, and it's kind of uh, not enough steam on it, and the keeper
Yeah.
gets and saves it. But the goal, well,
Yeah,
fell
yeah,
back to
yeah.
the goal. Debo gets the ball, turns in the middle, like I said, two defenders, looks up,
Well,
which
wait,
he
wait, wait,
tends
wait,
not
wait.
to do.
Wait. Who are the two defenders?
I don't know. I wasn't looking.
That's the funniest part because the one defender comes in and is physical with him and does his job. The tall guy, there were a couple of them, but they're a pretty big team by and large. But then he goes to pass him off to Leal, and Leal is supposed to engage him there. He's like their DP, right? So he's supposed to come in and get physical with him. And Diogo just turns and runs right by him, and he's just like, and stops. And then he plays the ball through. So I thought that was so fitting of exactly what happened. Their DP gives up on the play, and ours plays it through. Like whose DP's
So
worse?
Leal went all Diogo on the play
He
and
totally
didn't
did.
get physical. Leads him to have a nice pass. And it was a nicely weighted pass. I guess it could have been a little heavier, but the defenders weren't getting there. And Johnny RusSelL uh, takes the ball and kind of cuts in and then does a little nutmeg, gets a little clip, right footed shot.
Yeah, I don't.
Kind of just passes it into the back and gets the keeper going the wrong way. It was a nice little Johnny RusSelL-esque goal.
Well, I don't think Johnny Russell's gonna through ball in on anybody at this point of his career. You know what I mean? Speed is not his friend anymore. That's not his game. So even if Diogo plays that harder, it's just gonna make him run more. You know what I mean? So it was, I think, the perfect ball for Johnny to get on it in the end there and just kind of go with, but at that point it was 3-on-2. And I think Brennan was like, dude, he better find Agata on this play because Agata was coming back post wide open. And so Gozo did the right thing and he cleared out on a front run to the front post, which is what you're supposed to do when you're the first defender. You make a run to the front post, and then the second attacker runs to the back post, right? And both things happened, and Johnny didn't need either one because he kind of got the defender off balance and kind of lunging, and then the keeper stepped away from the near post, and it was all over.
Yeah, it was really, really nice goal. And it was calm and collected and poised, which you expect from someone of his skill and ability. And that's just a great example for a player like Gozo and some of these younger players to watch and be around.
Well,
I've been to
and they helped too. I mean, Gozo and Agata both pulled players away from Johnny. Otherwise, they would have been running back to Johnny, right? Which he needed that time to get his little head fake and shimmy shake in there, right, Brennan? That's what we call it, the shimmy shake.
Yeah, a little shimmy shammy shake.
I think having a guy like Russell in there, he's calm and composed under pressure, and it's just a great example. That just kind of oozes through the team at times when people see, oh, he wasn't trying to go crazy, he wasn't trying to overdo it, he was letting the game come to him, makes a nice pat, makes a nice cut, and instead of going to the far post, goes near post, and you've got the keeper probably expecting that pass to Agata, right? And he's going to his right, and Johnny passes it behind him. A little bit of a deflection into the goal.
So it brings up the point of how you feel about your club's like demon scoring for your team, right? This is a guy who we hated for so long on Kansas City, right? How do you feel about your most hated rival coming to your team and scoring a goal? Of course you like it because it's your team, but I had a few people reach out like, I don't know how I feel about that, which I thought was interesting because I just figured like, hey, you put on this shirt, you're on my team. You put on that shirt, you're on that team. I don't hate the person. I hate the team. You know what I mean? So, but a few people reached out and said, I don't know how I feel about this Johnny Russell guy scoring for us. What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was waiting for you. I was going to say I don't. I was just waiting for you to say I wasn't around, so I don't know.
I think it's more fun. You know what I mean? Like I like the fact that it's somebody who we hated. I think I even mentioned how much I didn't like him a couple of years ago. And now that he's scored a goal, it's kind of I don't know. I just kind of just clap and be like, yeah, that's okay with me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain that really.
Well, I like it. I like it. He was never Diego Chara to me. I just
Okay.
put all of that kind of irrational stuff on Diego
He was never your
Chara.
Benny Philhauer.
No, oh man, I never liked Fellhammer either. Yeah, so there's a couple of them out there. It's just a little different. I think it just kind of shows that you got respect for the game, right? Kansas City, they let him go, and you always want players to play well and on your team. And having a guy from Kansas City, I just think it makes how do I say it, explain it? It just feels like it's a little more well-rounded. It's a nice thing for a sports fan. It kind of takes the venom out of the game sometimes to have players from another team that you don't really like to say, hey, you know what, this is just a game, and let's be crazy and fanatic on Saturday nights, but when it comes to what's really important, it's not all that important. So just enjoy the game and enjoy probably Johnny Russell having an impact on a team that let him go. Impact on another team that the team that let him go doesn't really like. So I think it's
But
just kind of fun that way.
yeah, and he's no Roger Espinoza. You know what I mean? He was never the villain. I mean, he was the villain because he scored goals on us, but he wasn't the jerk that would drop people or talk smack to Kyle Beckerman or, you know what I mean? So I'm okay with him being here and doing what he's doing. Obviously, I think it's great. He puts on our shirt. He's on our team. Like he's our guy now. You know, that's kind of how I see it. But yeah, I understand the lingering feelings too. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that so many people were like, I don't know about this. Like he kicked it in, guys. That's what we need right now. Let's let that be what it is, right?
It's kind of like I would put him in the same category as like a Robbie Keane, right, for the LA Galaxy, who just menaced Real Salt Lake when he was with the Galaxy. But he was a player, like if he'd have wanted to play a season or two, he'd come over and people are like, oh yeah, we got Robbie Keane for a minute. So that's kind of where I would put him, not in the Chara Espinoza camp, but more the Robbie Keane or some other really good players like Kai Kamara. I thought, I would rather see Kai Kamara on this team than Willie Agata. I'll just say it flat out. I think Kai Kamara would have been a better pickup. He might have been more expensive, but for
Yeah,
what
but
this team needs,
he wants to play for a winner though, and I think Johnny just fits us because he was out of contract and still felt like he had something to prove. And you know what? Come put on the claret and cobalt. It looks good on you with that cool hair and the
well, Kai
accent.
Kamara was out of contract too.
Yeah, but I don't think he wanted to come here. I
Yeah,
think he wanted to
I
play for a contender, and we weren't contending at the time. So yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that's
continue on after the goal. Just a couple minutes later after the goal, the theme of nice long passes. Pablo Ruiz hits Gozo on a beautiful, beautiful run, and then he gets one on one with the keeper and kind of toe pokes it past the far post. And that would have been a killer goal.
was that Diogo again playing it through, or was it Ruiz?
It was Ruiz. and he gets one-on-one, and he just kind of can't wrap it around the keeper, and it goes out for. And here's a question for you. I was thinking about this whole time. Why are we wasting our time with all these guys? Just let Gozo play up top.
You may be wondering why that cut off the way it did right there. And your best guess is what we want in our social media feed. We're giving away a free jersey, brand new, Grid City, RSL jersey. It's a size medium, but you can change it in for whatever you want at the store. So make your best guess as to what happened to cut off that video right there. And then the person that's closest and the person that has the funnest, if that's a real word, I don't even know. Those two, we'll give away. We're giving away 2 jerseys. So one for the closest to actually what did happen, and one for the best responses to what happened. Hit us up on our socials, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.